Mac and Perry in the place. Da-na-na-na. Mac and Perry go live to create. Da-na-na-na. Mac and Perry invite you to stay.
Welcome to TELUS STORYHIVE On Location here in Lloydminster. I'm Michael Bartz. I make short films and podcasts about environmental sustainability. And this is my co-host,
Daniel J. Perryman, local theatre and filmmaker based in Lethbridge, Alberta. And this is...
Brittany Murphy, owner of BR Films and also a filmmaker.
Great, yeah. All right, well, I'm so excited to have you here and we can chat and get to know you. We're at Catchy, right? Is that how you say it?
Yes,
Yeah.
Catchy
Cafe.
Cafe.
Yeah. Excited to be here, yeah. So our first segment we do is just call it the icebreaker segment, just to get to know you a bit, maybe outside of your creative practice. We'll get to know each other and learn our likes and dislikes and things like that. Also trivia, we do trivia. How are you at trivia, Brittany?
Not great.
Not
I will
great.
try my best though.
Yeah, well, we keep it pretty simple, but we also have some trivia that you'll be asking us. So Lloydminster trivia. This is fun. This is my favorite question so far. So this is talking about like way back when Lloydminster was founded as a town. So the area was first settled in 1903 with the arrival of the bar colonists from England. Who was the city named after?
Ooh.
Was it A? It's multiple choice, so don't worry.
Yes.
It'd be much harder if it wasn't. This is not Jeopardy. All right, so was it A, Lloyd Lightning Roberts, the colony's only competitive speed walker, who got there 18 seconds before everyone else? Could be. Reverend George Exton Lloyd, an Anglican bishop. Was it C, Christopher Lloyd, as Doc Brown, who stopped here briefly in 1885? Or Lord Lloyd, the former Duke of Westminster?
The answer is B.
B, Reverend George Exton Lloyd. There we go, you got it.
My daughter was telling me about this last week, so.
What about in school or something?
Yeah. Shout out to her teacher.
There we go. Good, some Lloydminster social studies.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I guess we'll go to one of our trivia questions for each other. Maybe the top one. That'll be
Good.
Daniel's question about me, so I'll be answering. Let's see how well I know Daniel. We
Great.
spend lots of time together. We'll see.
Okay. I'm running a marathon in May. How far does Daniel usually jog when he catches the sunset in Lethbridge's coulees? A, 2.5 kilometers, B, 5 kilometers, C, 6 kilometers, or D, 10 kilometers?
Oh, wow. I vaguely know this route. How far would that be? Oh. I'm just going to go with, because it's kind of in the middle, B, 5 kilometers.
That is
There we go.
correct.
Nice.
Good work.
Good stuff. Nice. All right, so we have another trivia question about Lloydminster. Again, very simple. And Daniel's going to ask you that one.
Okay.
Okay, which of the following NHL players grew up in Lloydminster? Was it A, Colby Armstrong, B, Garnet Ace Bailey, or C, Corey Cross, or D, all of the above?
Ooh. I know C for sure, so I'm just going to go with that.
It's not wrong, but
All of the above?
answer was D, all of the above. Yeah.
Oh.
Bit of a trick question, but
That's
not
awesome.
entirely wrong. So there you go. Yeah.
There we go. Nice. All right, then we have one more trivia question. That one's about me. You're going to be asking Daniel.
Okay.
See how well he knows me.
My creative practice revolves around filmmaking. Michael has made a few short films. Last summer, he created an experimental documentary covering a 6-day hitchhiking journey through southern and central Alberta, relying entirely on strangers to get him 1,400 kilometers. In this film, where was he headed? The town of Two Hills, that's A, sorry. B, the hamlet of Mossley, I've never heard of that in my life. C, the village of Murnham, or D, the city of Lloydminster.
Oh, goodness gracious me. Where did you go, Michael? I think I can't actually, I'll just be honest, I can't remember why, but I'm going to go with C, Murnham?
That is correct.
There you go.
Wow, good work, guys.
Yeah, it's in the title, The Road to Murnham. Yes, Murnham, Alberta.
That sounds really cool. I would like to watch that.
Yeah, north of Highway 16, so yeah.
Wow, I bet you met a lot of fascinating people.
Yeah, I interviewed the people along the way and people who picked me up, and yeah, it was fun.
That.
Yeah, an experiment, yeah. Nice,
say.
good stuff, you got it right. All right, so now we have our next game, which is called This or That.
Okay.
And very simple, it's just we have this hat, and it has pieces of paper, and they have like things like coffee or tea, cats or dogs, and we just discuss which our preferences are to get to know each other. So How about you pick the first one, and then I will answer
Okay.
first.
Sure.
We'll go
Okay.
around.
Build it or buy it?
Yes, yes. So if I had to choose, I built my own off-grid tiny house years ago. So whenever I can, I do like to just build things. I love the process of it and making, like, you can really customize things and make them, and it's just, I like that modification, and also like the creative process of like coming up with an idea. Like you like draw something on paper, and then to make it like a real thing in real life. I just find that very, very satisfying. Obviously, I have to buy some things, but whenever I can, I like to build things. How about you?
I love that. I don't think I'm as handy with power tools, but if it relates to like birthday cards or Halloween costumes and also birthday cakes, those are all things that I will never buy. I want to make them myself. I want to customize it. I want to like exercise my creativity.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah, and we'll pass it over to Daniel if he's more of a build it or buy it kind of guy.
I think I would like to be a build-it person, but more often than not, I resort to buying it, and that's where I'm at. So yeah.
Great. All right. I will pick one from the hat. Let's see what this says. Stay in or go out. What's your preference generally?
How blizzardy is it
Yeah, I
outside?
can't really see. It's winter in April.
Probably go out.
Yeah.
I love just like hanging out with friends and meeting new people and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I work from home as well, so
Sure.
just getting out of the house.
Yeah, a bit
Kinda nice. Yeah.
cabin fever sometimes, I'm sure, when you're at home. Nice. So you're more like maybe like an extroverted person, or?
I would say, but a little bit introverted.
Yeah.
Like usually I'm not in front of the camera.
Yeah, fair, yeah.
Yeah, what about you?
Yeah, I would say I'm going to switch my answer from the other days. I guess more stay in, I suppose, if I'm being honest. I do like to go out for walks, or go to the library, or just be out, but I guess probably given the option, I'd probably stay in. I'm not a huge party social person, and it's all good. So yeah, and I'll throw it over to Daniel. If he's a go in or stay out, or kind of person, yes.
Yeah, no, I think that typically I'm a stay-in type of person, but with the right people, this was an answer from another guest of ours. With the right people, I could definitely be a go-out person if I'm with the right people. And but generally, I'm a stay-in, introverted type of person. So yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
And we did go to the Sticks last night and play some pool, so we did get out, exploring Lloydminster a little bit.
Also, have you checked out our library? I'm going to plug
No,
it
I
a little.
haven't.
So I'm on the library board. I'm very passionate about our library. It's located in our mall, and it is very gorgeous and very lovely. We have lots going on there always. So
But,
you should check it out while you're in town.
We'll try to check it out. What do you like about being involved with the library?
Just how it's evolved over the years. We moved into a new space during the pandemic, and just seeing all the children's programming grow, and yeah, just they're always doing something cool there. So I love that. It's such like a hub of our community, bringing together like art, culture, learning, all the things, right? So
Nice.
yeah.
That's great.
I'm just a big fan of libraries, and every city I go to, I like stopping by the library. So when you
Nice.
said that, I'm like, yes.
Yeah, right? Yeah, I feel like a lot of times it can be underappreciated in cities. So yeah, I
Absolutely.
think they often do a lot of good programming, and even just access to books and movies and other things. And yeah, we even have like in our Lethbridge library recently, we have the Library of Things. I'm saying off on a side tangent about this, but yeah. So we can actually like sign out power tools or whatever, all sorts of things to kind of avoid waste and consumption. So
love
yeah,
that.
and something that people don't really know about. So if you're ever in Lethbridge, check out the Library of Things.
We have a puzzle library in ours too,
Yeah.
and a craft closet. So you can go there and get craft supplies if you need something, and then you don't have to go buy it. And my big thing is, why buy a book when you can borrow it and take it back?
Yeah,
Good for the environment too, right?
right, exactly. Yeah, I think it's great. So, yay, libraries. All right, we'll go for one more. That should be a question. Libraries
Sorry
or
that I
no,
derailed us
not
there.
at all. We're just getting to know each other. So,
Early bird or night owl?
yes, I definitely know an answer for this. This is always the same. I'm very much an early bird.
Yes.
I like to get up early, and I like to go climbing. We have a climbing gym in Lethbridge, so yeah, I'm easily get up be there by 7 a.m. and climbing, and yeah, especially in the nicer spring summer weather when it's light out, getting up, and I enjoy the mornings. So yeah, how about yourself?
I'm a night owl. I find I'm most creative in the evening. Like that's when I kind of want to work on projects or have my best ideas, I think. But I also wake up very early if I need to go for a run. If I'm meeting friends at the gym, like I can wake up early, but I would much rather stay up late.
That's fair. Yeah, that's your preference. I'll throw over to Daniel. Are you a night owl or a morning person, Daniel?
I am definitely a night owl.
Yeah.
I've been that way since a kid, and even going for a run, I would rather catch the sunset.
Yes.
I'll fit that in the evening, and that's my preference.
Yeah, one or the other always. So great. Like, can we move on to our Tumbling Towers game? And yeah, so have you played this Tumbling Towers game? It goes by a different name that maybe we shouldn't say.
Oh, yes, trademark.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is, we just pull out the blocks and put them on top. But with this, we do have numbers that correspond to just like open-ended questions to start a conversation.
Okay.
So it might be like, what's your perfect day look like? Or who's someone who inspires you? So yeah, it's not this or that, it's just open-ended. And so it's fun. And then hopefully it doesn't fall over. How about you go first? Why not?
Okay. When it falls over, is the game done?
Yeah, but it's only sometimes
Okay,
happens.
we've got 54.
Oh, the very last one.
Wow.
I've almost memorized that one, but somehow it's interesting. We often get the same question somehow. It's random.
Funny.
Yeah. So 54. What is one act of kindness we should all do more of?
Ooh. That's really hard.
Yeah, and if we can answer first.
I feel like I could think of so many things.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, I think giving people compliments or like telling them things that you love about them, because so often we like keep those things inside. And I think whenever you just say it out loud, it's so nice for someone to hear.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, for me, I think one act of kindness that comes to mind is like very generally just like being present in a conversation when you're with someone, like putting the phone away. And some of my best memories hanging out with people are, we're cooking together, we're eating together. But we're not on our phones necessarily or on our screen. So I think the more we can be present with people and not be distracted, I think that's an act of kindness that I think we could all do a little more of. Yeah, and I'll throw it over to Daniel if he has an idea for an act of kindness.
Yeah, I actually started the book that I brought on this trip, Into the Wilderness by Brené Brown. And one of the first things she actually mentions is permission slips like you would give for your kid to go on a trip, but for yourself. And so just that like kind of self-act of giving yourself permission to be goofy one day or to fail. And I just think that that's an act of kindness that we could do like for ourselves. And I thought it was beautifully articulated in the book. And yeah, I thought it was a really cool idea. So yeah.
Nice. Good stuff. There we go. All right, I will pull a tile out. Ooh, that was very loose. Look at that. Makes it easy. 24. What have you tried? Something you've tried that scared you?
Ooh.
And if you need to think about it, we can answer first.
This right now.
Yeah.
Being in front of the camera when I'm usually behind it, I feel like it takes me out of my comfort zone, but it's always good to do things that scare you, right?
There we go. Well, yeah, I appreciate you doing this, even though it scares you. Yeah, what's something that scared me? One thing that comes to mind years back, I did I've done like improvisational theater, and someone's like, hey, there's this thing where we do like stand-up improv. It's like kind of mixing the two, where it's like you're up there and then they just give you a topic. It's just like more like stand-up comedy as opposed to like improvisational theater. Okay. I'm like, I could do that, but it was quite a bit scary, and did not go well. It was like just like talk about bees and let's make a joke, because with the improv it's like I can like make a scene and then it has bees in it and something happens, but just to like tell a joke suddenly about bees or something, I'm like, it was quite scary at the time, and I don't like thinking about it now. So yeah, that's something that comes to mind that I did that scared me. Hey Daniel, what have you done sometime that scared you?
I don't know why, but the thing that I always come back to is like just getting on stage, and like I've done that several times now for different projects. But there's always like a little bit of nerves, and I think that that's a good thing, honestly. And so yeah, I'm grateful for the opportunity to do that, and yeah, it scares me every now and then. So yeah.
Nice, good stuff. All right, we'll pull another tile. I think it's your turn, Brittany. So we'll put these on top. I don't think you've played Tumbling Towers before.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I didn't go over the rules. It's okay. 27.
27.
Ooh, speaking of libraries, if you're a bit of a reader, maybe. What's a book that you couldn't put down?
Oh my goodness. Maybe come back to
Yeah,
me.
yeah, for
I've been
sure.
doing a lot of audiobooks lately.
Sure,
so...
that you couldn't stop listening to, I
Yeah.
guess. Sure,
I
if
really
that's,
have to think.
we can come back to you, can think about it. Yeah, I've been, what's a book recently that I couldn't put down? I read a lot of nonfiction, exclusively almost. I almost never read fiction books. So I think the last nonfiction book that I could think of that I couldn't put down, I've read a couple times, is like Cal Newport's Slow Productivity. So he's originally like a computer scientist, but he does a lot around those kind of topics around business and productivity. And yeah, it's all about like slowing down in order to do like your best work. And he has like these examples of like historical examples from hundreds of years ago of people who, had what he talks about like the knowledge workers, and then how like we're like going like 24/7, 365, and how people in the past especially they would take like a summer off and go to Europe and then come back and do their thing, and how we really need to rethink how we work in order to really do our best work and creative work or otherwise. And I liked it. I just thought it was a really applicable book, and I enjoyed it, so I just read it like that. Yeah, I can pass over to Daniel if you still need another minute. Yeah, if there's a book that you couldn't put down.
Yeah, I think two things come to mind. I don't read as much as I would like to, so these were from a while ago, but shouting out Brené Brown again, like her Daring Greatly really captivated me, and I could not put it down. And then other than that, The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, I read that in high school, and it was like one of those books that you read at that age, and I couldn't put it down. It was just very captivating. So, yeah, what comes to mind for you, Brittany?
Okay, so I've had a few cycle through, but I'm gonna go for fiction. Usually I was like a nonfiction girly where I would just read like things that were gonna help me learn. And then my friend was like, you should try some fiction. And so now I'm into it more. There was this book I listened to recently called Shark Heart. And I feel like you might be into it because it like was like a theater teacher, like his perspective, and he was turning into a shark. It's like a pretend like world where he has this like mutation that turns you into an animal. So it's him kind of like grappling with like life and the meaning of life and animals and their lives and how it all matters, and art actually. So it was really cool and just like something I would never think of reading, but it was interesting. It stayed with me.
Okay, yeah, well, I'll check that out. That's great.
Yeah, I'm sorry I forget the author.
That's fine. That's all good. We'll do maybe we've got time for maybe one more tile. I think it's my turn. So we're not too picky about if you poke one. 32. Easy enough, I think. What's your favorite comfort food, if you had to choose?
Ooh.
Again, I can come back to you. But
No, I know.
Okay, yeah. What?
My brain automatically goes to chocolate. I love chocolate so much, and brownies, like just like a very dense brownie.
Yeah. Let's talk more about this chocolate, because I love chocolate too. How do you like to have your chocolate? It's like in a
brownie.
In a brownie, yeah. Okay, mixed into a brownie.
They actually have really good Dubai chocolate brownies here.
Okay, great.
For the record.
All right, we'll have to check that out. Nice. Well, yeah, I do love chocolate. I wouldn't say it's a comfort food necessarily, so I just have it like a dark chocolate bar. But what comes to mind for me is like, I also love like watching movies, classic like movie popcorn, like, and then I do like nutritional yeast on it. Some people like that, some people don't. So I make my own popcorn. And that's just always like a nice thing. Part of it's just the experience of maybe watching a film after a hike or after a long week. But yeah, that's always something I look forward to, and really only have when I'm watching a movie. So it's kind of a less frequent thing, but delicious, savory, although I do like sweet. Yeah, I'll throw it over to Daniel for our last comment about what sort of comfort food he likes.
Yeah, the first thing that comes to mind for me is just nachos. I could devour maybe not a full plate of nachos myself, but I could certainly try and put a dent in it. But if I'm with friends, I love some good nachos.
Nice, good stuff. All right, well, that has been our icebreaker segment. It's been great to get to know you, to know each other. So yeah, this has been TELUS STORYHIVE on location here in Lloydminster at Catchy Cafe. I'm Michael Bartz. I make short films and podcasts about environmental sustainability, and this is my co-host,
Daniel J. Perryman, local theatre and filmmaker based in Lethbridge, Alberta, and this is
Brittany Murphy, owner of BR Films and also a filmmaker.
All right, we'll be right back. Welcome to TELUS STORYHIVE on location in Lloydminster at Catchy Cafe. I'm Michael Bartz. I make short films and podcasts about environmental sustainability. And this is my co-host,
Daniel J. Perryman, local theatre and filmmaker based in Lethbridge, Alberta. And this is...
Brittany Murphy. I'm also a filmmaker, and I'm the owner of BR Films.
Yeah, great. Well, yeah, I really enjoyed our little icebreaker segment, getting to know each other a bit and talking about libraries, and it was great. But this section we call kind of the interview. And yeah, this one is really about your journey as a filmmaker. I love to just dive into like where you've been and your experiences and maybe talk about some projects and just learn about your journey. It could be great to discover. So I guess we can maybe elaborate on maybe, as a filmmaker, kind of our first question would be, what is your creative practice? If you could just kind of summarize it briefly.
So I think of filmmaking as noticing. So noticing movement, noticing light, noticing the things that people say, and then finding music that conveys emotion and putting it all together into a video form.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, great. So that's lovely. I definitely have questions about that. But we'll go maybe to the start of your creative practice. I guess, my first question would be like, when did you first pick up a camera?
So I remember I've liked photography ever since I was a little kid. I would take disposable cameras to camp and take what I thought were artsy pictures and take them to Walmart or whatever and get them developed. Then I got a point and shoot camera and I would put that in my purse and carry it around with me all times of the day. I was that person that was taking pictures of their lunch before food pics were cool. And then anytime in school there's a project, I would try to make it into a video project, kind of something like that with my point and shoot. So the audio was terrible, but that's okay. I was just having fun with it. And then when I got more into high school is when I started learning more about filmmaking and doing more with it.
Maybe just before that last comment of you're just making films. Do you remember any of the projects or kind of things you were making when you were younger?
Yes. Okay. So I can't remember what grade it was, but we did a project on Titanic, and we had this old wooden ship at our city park. And so we went on the ship and pretended it was the Titanic, and we wore these dresses that I had from when I was a kid that were former grad dresses and stuff, dress up clothes. And then I was a swim club member, so I asked the pool if we could use the pool, and they had this room underneath, a boiler room with a little window that I remembered seeing when I was swimming. So I went in there and got my friend to pretend she was drowning in the water in this dress. Again, I don't remember how old we were. We were probably teenaged, but I'm thinking now that was a wild project, and I wish I could find that. Maybe one day I'll try.
Right? Yeah. It's considering how when you're young, how the creativity comes out, and you don't think about any of the business side of stuff. You just make it, and
it probably doesn't look real at all. But at the time, it seemed like the coolest thing that we created.
Right? Yeah. That's great just to bring your friends together and do that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so
just
fun.
Laughing is the best part of filming.
Bloopers. Right? Yes, classic bloopers. So hopefully you can find that piece maybe somewhere. Yeah. And then you said and then in high school you started to learn more about filmmaking. Tell me more about that time in your life.
Yeah, I feel our high school has some good classes, with web design, and I'm sure since I've graduated 15 years ago, it's evolved even more. But there was this one class specifically called CPT. I should really remember what it stood for, but maybe communication something technology. And so my teacher really encouraged us to write our own films, and I think we made a horror movie because that's the easiest genre to make for just as starting out in film, I think. Maybe doesn't require that much acting. Maybe you're as an actor, you probably would disagree. But so we did some actual projects then, and that was my favorite class. So I was hey, this is something that I'm passionate about.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Well, it's great that you got that experience. I'm not sure about every school, but sometimes they don't have that kind of specific class or program. Do you remember maybe a project within that class that comes to mind that
I remember the horror film was so bad.
Yeah, so you did make a horror film, and yeah.
We
Fake
like
blood
tried
and-
to like escape through my like basement window or something. Yeah, it was really bad. Yeah, I don't even remember what we did for blood, but yeah, very scary and not good.
Okay.
Just a bunch of kids
Yeah.
trying to make stuff, right? And yeah, now I know that our high schools have like even more developed programs, and like there's a lot of very talented people that come out of the high schools here just making films and like doing Skills Canada competitions.
Oh,
I
with
think
film,
that's like
okay,
yeah,
yeah.
pretty big here. So yeah.
Okay, yeah. Interesting, yeah. Maybe there has been maybe more of a change even within the last, 15 years or so. Maybe like because it's easier to make within digital to make films and edit them. I wonder if it's more accessible to young people maybe.
Well, and with YouTube and stuff,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like you can learn from the pros, and people will tell you tips and stuff, right? So
Yeah.
get some gear and start trying things.
There we go. Yeah, nice. Yeah, fun. Yeah, high school, great project. I guess so. After that, like, what came next in your filmmaking creative journey?
Yeah, so I think one day I was just looking at websites on the internet and I found this ad for a film school in Kelowna. It was an art school, but they had a film program. And so I had always wanted to live in Kelowna. That was like the main thing for me, BC, warmer weather and the Okanagan, all the beaches and everything there. That's lovely. So I applied and I got in and went and did that for a bit.
Oh, nice. Yeah, and so that was after high school or during.
I took a year off and just saved up money. And
And so you were actively looking for like film school specifically in your post-secondary?
I think it just happened. I'd always loved photography and I thought of going to school for that. And my parents are like, you could just learn that as like a hobby. And like people do go to school for it. Like there is lots of stuff that you do need to learn, but you also can teach yourself. So they were like, you should go to school for film because you need to go to school. And then after I got to school, they're like, you don't need to go to school for film. And I'm like, oh dang. They're like, you will start on a film set, you'll get people coffee, and then one day you could be a director if you do that long enough.
Okay, It wasn't really required,
but all education is learning, and it's important, right? So
we can talk about that more because I'm really curious about that. Because that's a very good point. Because I think it seems like it's kind of split. Where some people say you have to go to film school, and some people are like, you don't have to. And let's just talk about your time in Kelowna in film school. So you applied, you got in, you moved out there. Tell me about that experience.
Yeah, so we got to do a lot of projects. You learn like pre-production, post-production, script writing, like all that kind of stuff. You don't really learn acting, but we found local actors in the community just online or like on Kijiji. I can't quite remember how we found them. And then we like literally hired them to work on our projects for free in our student films. And so that was really cool, just like directing people and getting them to like see your vision come to life, that sort of thing. So I remember I did one documentary about a football player that had passed away and like his impact on the community because he was like a pretty big deal in the Kelowna area. So yeah, that was really neat. And another one of my school projects, we actually went to Seattle. So it's not too far away from Kelowna, right? You're pretty close to the border. And I am really passionate about sushi. So I found a sushi chef there and we went and interviewed him and I made like I think it was 5 or 10 minute documentary about like sushi and the history and how he got into making it and stuff. And so that was really neat. And I did win a little award for that at my school. So
that's great.
that was fun.
How was it like crossing the border? Like, we're filmmakers, gonna go make a documentary. Was there any questions?
I think when you're like teen, they don't ask that much, right? They're like, are there drugs in the vehicle or something? And then you're fine. But yeah, we also went to a film festival in Seattle just to like go and enjoy the art there. So yeah.
How was the Seattle Film Festival?
Oh, it was really cool. Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. And then we got to go to Vancouver a couple of times too with our school and like see all the areas where they film and stuff like that. So that was neat, just like eye-opening. And then I decided I do not want to work on film sets.
No?
because they said like the hours are like so long, and like sure you have work for like 6 months, but you don't like really have family time. And I always wanted to be a mom. That was one of my dreams ever since I was little. And so I'm like, this isn't really conducive to the life I want. So then I was like, maybe filmmaking in that capacity isn't like the route I want to go.
So it's kind of a bit
I'm
of
sure we'll get to that part after. Sorry, I'm skipping ahead.
No, not at all. Yeah, no. Yeah, that would be a question I was going to ask, was how it maybe changed, like influenced your creative practice. And so maybe you realize you don't want to work on scripted films in Vancouver. More like documentary or
I've always wanted to get into documentaries, and we had a class where we would go and interview people on the street, kind of do like streeters and make like news stories. And so I kind of found that really fun. And then my mom had told me there's a job in Lloyd at the TV station that you should apply for. So I sent in my resume, and 2 days later they called me and were like, what job do you want? So that was kind of cool. And then I ended up being the camera woman for the news in town.
So you went to film school. All right, we got someone,
So I didn't have much experience with the news, but I got to learn as I went. And it's really cool. And a good way to meet people in the community, right? Because you're always interviewing like the police captain or stuff like that, fire chief, the mayor, stuff like that. So that was neat.
So you're going out with the camera on your shoulder and getting the scoop, and the
heavy tripod.
And how long did you do broadcasting with the TV station?
I think it was about 1.5 years. And then at that point I was like, I want to start my own company. I did skip ahead. When I lived in Kelowna, a friend of a friend asked me to film her wedding. And so I borrowed a camera from a classmate and got like a $10 tripod. It was like so lightweight. And I filmed their wedding, and that was really fun. And I like fell in love with it, and just capturing this like special day for someone. And so that was like something I realized I was passionate about. And then when I was working at the TV station, I branched out and started my own company and started filming weddings, and then kind of got into commercial work too. So.
Okay, it's kind of where it started back in Kelowna.
Yeah.
Oh, nice, good stuff. Oh, maybe let's linger on the TV station for a little bit, and then we'll jump to the BR films, I suppose. I'm just curious, like if you remember that time, it was a shorter period of time, but I'm sure you were out and about quite a lot. Like, was there ever like a story you covered or a person that maybe you remember to this day, possibly?
Ooh, I feel like I've met so many people that it's hard to be like, did I meet them at that exact time?
No one will be fact checking this, so it's I don't know, just
I feel like there was some crime that we like covered that I was like, oh, this is shocking that it's happening in our community. Some of that stuff it's like better not to know about. But most times it was like, oh, they're selling smile cookies at Tim Hortons for like this charity. And so like we had lots of nice stories like that where they're like, no, like this person died today or something.
I guess, because you said you had that interest in documentary films, but maybe there's a difference, between like covering a news story and that like more in-depth, like telling that documentary film style.
Sorry to interrupt you. I just had a brainwave here. I did help make this like longer segment for CFB Wainwright, which is like our in Wainwright, the like base there, and a news anchor and I went there and like filmed them training and like interviewed a bunch of people for it, and I got to go in a tank. That was really cool. So I'm not really into all like the war things or like know much about it, but it was just like something unique to film. And so
A very different experience
than I would have thought.
A lot of war weddings going on, maybe. Nice.
Let's go back to the
nice. So you're working in broadcasting. You had that experience earlier in Kelowna where you did that wedding, and you realized, hey, this is something I'm really passionate about. And then you said you started BR Films, right? Yeah. Tell me about the beginning of that.
I started filming like a couple weddings, and then every year I was filming more. I did some commercial work for the city and some like bigger businesses in town. And I don't know, there was just a lot of variety of projects that I've got to work on over the years, and a lot of really kind people that I've got to meet throughout. One of my favorite things to film is people giving birth.
Okay.
I know everyone like cringes and is like, oh no, like, but it's not like that. It's very tasteful, and I usually turn everything black and white just so it's like classic. And but there's just something so powerful about someone like meeting their baby for the first time and like going through this like wild experience, and then like, yeah, just the ending is so great when they get to meet their child for the first time. And yeah, just capturing those moments that they want to remember forever is my favorite thing to do.
Yeah, it sounds very special. Yeah, and yeah, we can talk more about that. So I guess, yeah, what led to you doing birth videos?
So the very first one I got to film was my sister giving birth. So kind of had an in that way where she felt comfortable with me being in the room. And then a friend from high school, I also got to film all 3 of her kids being born. So yeah.
I think we've got a clip of that. No, we won't show you.
Like I said, it's very tasteful.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
It's more the moments like surrounding and then afterwards when they're holding their child and stuff like that. So yeah,
that's interesting. Yeah, and what comes to mind for that is like, that's a very sometimes private moment. Like I said, like a wedding might still be that way, but a lot of it can be very public. Yeah, I guess, what is that conversation like when someone approaches you and says, I want to do a birth video, to make sure that they're comfortable with you being in the room with the camera? What's that process like?
Well, yeah, I think if they've like seen your work and they like trust that you're gonna get like good angles and that they know like kind of the final product that they're getting, I guess, is like this keepsake video for their kids to look back on. Like my friend says her kids love watching it. So if I could just like describe it a little bit. So I kind of like interviewed them about like the day and like how they like went into labor and all like the lead up and everything, and then like how they felt when they met their baby and all that kind of stuff. And then sometimes if there's other siblings, they like have me record them like telling them that they're having a baby, or their gender reveal, or the kids meeting their sibling for the first time, which is so precious, and just like the little things that kids say to their new sibling. So, and then we kind of put it all together, and so it's like this memory, right?
Yeah, no, that sounds very special, and yeah, that makes sense if you're also like interviewing them and getting those, like you said, noticing those moments. And oh yeah, it sounds lovely. Yeah, would that be like quite a popular thing that you do with PR films?
I honestly haven't done as many as I would like, because the timing is so tricky, right? So it's like, you never know when someone's going to go into labor, and there was a few times that people would want me to film it, but I would have another wedding booked or something that weekend that like I was committed to, so I couldn't be in 2 places at once. And just like making sure you get to the hospital on time, or that you're not like sitting for like 6 hours while they're like in labor, right? Because every birth is so different. Yeah.
No, that makes sense. Yeah, you can't just postpone it and we'll film it next week. And
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. Interesting. Totally. Yeah. I'm curious, like with PR Films, the company. Like, I guess like what led to you like starting that company? Because like some people might like make projects and start to do paid work, and like was there a point where you're like, I need to make this like a official company? Was that ever happen, or was that all from the start? You're like, boom, company, PR Films.
Yeah, I think it was just like for scheduling and being like, I need to make sure on my weekends I can like be different places and then have enough time to edit and stuff. So it just made sense to jump into it full time, because a lot of people just keep it as a side gig. And yeah, I don't know, over the years it's just worked with my kids and all that kind of stuff, doing it during the day. And now I focus more on commercial work just because it is in business hours. Sure. Just for my lifestyle. Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah, so you didn't want to do 12-hour days on a film set, and so you're able to work within that. Nice. Yeah, I guess we can kind of maybe talk about the journey within PR Films maybe. So like you started it, I guess from kind of the beginnings, if we can kind of track along there. Like kind of like within that, like what came next in your creative journey, if you can think of like another kind of milestone within that.
I'm trying to think. All I can think of is I had my kids, and then I kind of stepped away from filmmaking for a bit. So now the past couple of years has just been me coming back to it and adapting to new trends, I guess, as you'd say, in the social media world and all that kind of stuff, and just working on maybe shorter form content than say 10 years ago when I started my company and everyone wanted like 10-minute videos, and now it's like 30 seconds, right? So just like learning how to change your process and figure out what people want and what people will watch, I guess.
Yeah. And how long of a break did you take when you had your kids?
I think it was about like 5 or 6 years. Okay. And then I did work a little for my friend Kim's company throughout that time as well, just filming like a wedding or two for him. Yeah. So, because it is hard to be at 2 places at once when you have a wedding booked already. So,
Yeah, kind of kept your hand in it a little bit.
A little bit. Which is always good.
And I guess it seems like because we've been in Lloydminster for a few days, and we actually ran into Kim at Spiro's, and
awesome.
Seems like the Lloydminster community, creative community, seems like quite tight knit. Maybe tell me a bit more about that, about being involved in a smaller Alberta, Saskatchewan town, and the film community within this town.
Yeah, we have a lot of very talented people here, and there are a lot of projects, so it's good that there's quite a few people that are into filmmaking now, because back when I started my company, I was the only person, and then if I couldn't film a wedding, I would feel so bad, because I'm like, I don't know who to recommend, like, unless you want to hire someone from like Edmonton or Calgary or Saskatoon to come. So now there's so many more options for people, and there's so many very talented people, which is good because there's a lot of people that want video work now, right? Like video kind of exploded the last 15 years since I've been out of film school. So Sorry, I'm like, did that answer your question?
I'm just curious because I think, I mean, it's maybe different, like doing like feature films or something. I just think that there's that, maybe if you go to film school or theater school or whatever, there's that, like, I have to move to the big city. I got to go to Vancouver, I have to go to Edmonton, and I just wonder about like staying here because, maybe your family's here, you want to be here, and just building that community around that rather than like going to the big city. That was just kind of what I was curious about your experience in Lloydminster. And I guess, we can talk a bit about that, where like that shift from, like you said, like 15 years ago people want like 10, 15-minute videos, and now they want something shorter. Maybe just tell me a bit more about that, about how that maybe has changed your filmmaking.
Yeah, I guess if we are doing a longer project, sometimes we just like split it up into segments. So instead of like one really long video, we do like 3 or 4 little short ones that you can share at different times. My biggest struggle these days is figuring out whether to film vertically or horizontal. Because it's like, what medium are we, like what platform are we putting it on? Are people watching things on their TV, or are most people watching on their phones and they're holding them upright? So that kind of breaks my filmmaker heart sometimes. But because you have to compose it different, right? You're not going to shoot it wide and then crop it, and then it's not what you had in mind when you planned the shot. So I don't know. Always growing and changing and adapting, right? So, and I think that's what like creativity is just figuring out how to problem solve. And
and then if it's just like you said at the beginning, like you're noticing those moments and capturing births or weddings and what have you, and I guess you can just adapt and change. And is that like a conversation you have, at the beginning when you meet with a client, let's say, of like, what do you want? And then like you decide whether it's, because they would say it's for social media or it's for whatever. Are you kind of having that conversation where you're deciding vertical, horizontal?
I think we work together, but I try to like recommend based on like what I've learned over the years and doing marketing stuff for a while too, and being like, maybe this is the direction we should go, depending on like, are you going to put it on your website? Are you going to put it here? And sometimes we film both ways. I set up one camera vertically, one camera horizontal, so we have the footage, right? So always problem solving. I think that's another thing that filmmaking is, just like going to a situation, figuring out what's the lighting like, where should we put the angles, and then you just figure out the best possible way that you can do it, and if it doesn't work, pivot, right?
Was there ever any project, just any time that comes to mind, Like, was there ever a project where like things like really went sideways, where something went wrong, and you were able to adapt and kind of salvage it? You can don't have to name names or anything, but yeah, if any stories come to mind? Yeah.
I don't know how many people are going to watch this.
Many, thousands and thousands of people are watching this right now.
The one time I did format a card mid-wedding, and that was terrifying. And I was so worried about it. And I was like, do I tell the couple? But we hadn't done the ceremony yet. It was just getting ready. And I had 2 cameras, so one of them still had footage on it of getting ready. It was just some of my like artsy shots got lost. But I'm like, I don't want to stress them out with this. I was going to keep going. But like you were saying with your lav mic, sometimes mics don't work. Sometimes like a camera dies and you didn't know, and then you go over and you're like, oh, this isn't recording, or you double tap the record button. These things keep me up at night sometimes. So I don't know. I think every time something goes wrong, you just learn for next time and fix it in post. That's my tip.
Fair enough, yeah. And with that wedding, like, so formatting the card, was it just a mistake you made?
Yeah, I was just
oops.
seeing how much space was on it, and then I accidentally clicked format, and you can't erase that.
Yeah.
So luckily, I don't have any wood near me, but luckily I haven't had like a hard drive crash or something, because I know that's big for filmmakers, and like all your footage is on that, and you haven't backed it up. So yeah, you try to take all the precautions you can.
Yeah, and then learn from. That's well, like you said, like earlier on, like going to film school or not, like there's maybe probably a lot of learning that happens through experience, and that's how you figure it out. Yeah. Totally. Yeah, especially if you're capturing those moments that you can't recreate or do another take or come back next week. So.
Can I ask you the questions back?
Sure.
Have you ever had something bad happen when you've been filming?
That's been really bad? Oh, what's coming to mind? Put me in the hot seat, Brittany. I don't know if I like this, being interviewed while I'm the interviewer. Oh, yeah, I think it was, probably losing a recording. I think, that was an audio project. It wasn't video, but I was traveling. I traveled to Newfoundland for a project, and didn't have a backup with that one, and then realized afterwards, it's like, oh, there was a big gap or something happened. And at that time, it was just, I'm a production company of one, so you can only, do so much. So ever since then, it's like I always do backups, especially with the audio.
Did you have to re-record it?
No, I was able to salvage most of that. So thankfully, like a lot of the podcast projects I do are like season-based, and it's like there's a lot of interviews in one season. So I was able to like cut out parts I needed, but there was definitely sections where I'm like, wow, that would have been great to have, but it's just not there. And I don't know what happened, and I'm not sure. I think it was, maybe an SD card issue or something, but now it's just having lots of backups. So that one comes to mind, but thanks for throwing it back at me, Brittany. Appreciate that. Anytime you can ask me a question. I guess maybe like within your BR Films work, or more generally, like, is there like a non-creative skill that you've had to develop as a filmmaker or business owner to be successful?
Yeah, I think just communication and like talking to people, right? Because that's such a big part of it, going out in the community and meeting people and developing relationships. Because our community is so like close-knit, and people like wanna support your business and like collaborate locally. So just like, putting yourself out there, going and meeting people, and actually like developing relationships so that you could maybe work together one day.
I love that collaboration.
So.
Did that come naturally to you as a more maybe extroverted person? Or,
I don't know if I really am extroverted. I think you like learn as you go, and like people just say like, just like try to be confident even if you're not, right? And you'll never know if you meet someone and be like, I'd love to work with you one day, and then years down the road you end up doing it, right? Because you just threw it out there. So I was trying to just do that if I can, and be like, this is like a dream project that I would love to like work with your business. If you guys ever have the budget or something like that, like let me know, and then maybe one day you get to do it.
Has that maybe happened on some sort of scale where you've felt, oh, that'd be great to collaborate with that person or do that project even locally? Has that ever happened, and then you were able to do it eventually?
Yeah, there was a couple clients last year that I reached out to, and pretty much all of them I ended up working with because I just said, like, if you guys ever want videos, let me know. And so that was really neat. I was proud of myself for just trying, right?
Yeah.
Because you never know. And giving out your business card, I feel like people still do that, right? So
I think, yeah. And it sounds like, you maybe, working in broadcasting here, and now, being involved with the Lloydminster community. It sounds like that's great that you can make those connections and network. And again, I don't know, but I would think that maybe that's easier in a smaller town versus like a big city where there's 1,000 companies that could do what you do. And
I think so.
Maybe.
I was telling my girls like 2 days ago that there was like 2 or 3 people in their class that I'm like, I filmed their parents' wedding. I filmed their parents' wedding. And it's just like funny how you like grow up knowing these people, and now their kids are in my kids' class or grade, right? So it's just how Lloyd works, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and that's great that you can be a part of the community in that way, and it seems like a very special, unique thing. Yeah. Maybe we'll have time for one more question, and we'll get on to the showcase and talk more about some of the projects and see some of them. I guess one question we try to ask people at the end is like, how has your creative practice, filmmaking, how has that like influenced your everyday life?
And I'm going to go back to noticing.
Okay.
So I love noticing light shining through windows, especially like early in the morning or at sunset. Shadows of like leaves and plants when the sun like shines through them. And I do notice a lot while I'm running too, because that's just like a way you're in nature and you can see. And so I just find myself noticing things around me at all times and wanting to document it, whether it's with a phone camera or video. And I do film a lot of my kids too. So I grew up with like home videos, and I think that's so special. And so I try to do that for my daughters as well.
Good. I'm glad you can capture their moments as well. It's not just your work. And, nice. Well, really enjoyed the conversation, learning about your filmmaking journey. So thanks so much.
Thank you. It's been great.
Good. So this has been TELUS Storyhives on location in Lloydminster at Catchy Cafe. I'm Michael Bartz. I make short films and podcasts about environmental sustainability. And this is my co-host,
Daniel J. Perryman, local theatre and filmmaker based in Lethbridge, Alberta. And this is
Brittany Murphy, owner of VR Films and a filmmaker.
And we'll be right back.
Hello and welcome back to TELUS Storyhive's On Location in Lloydminster. We're at the Catchy Cafe. My name is Daniel J. Perryman, local theatre and filmmaker based in Lethbridge, Alberta. This is my lovely co-host,
Michael Bartz. I make short films and podcasts about environmental sustainability, and this is
Brittany Murphy, owner of BR Films and also a filmmaker.
Yeah, thank you again so much for taking the time and energy to meet with us. And I'm super excited to be here at Catchy Cafe. It's a lovely spot. And just out of curiosity, how often do you make it out to the cafe here?
Probably too much. No, it's so good. At least a couple times a month, I would say. I love coming here for lunch dates, meetings, bringing my kids. Yeah.
And what was the reason you came here in the first place? Just out of curiosity again.
It was the very first bubble tea shop in our community, and I'd never tried it before. So I'm like, I want to experience what this is like, and I've been hooked ever since. And now they have coffee and snacks and treats too.
Yeah. Awesome, awesome. Well, yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed your icebreakers and your interview with Michael, and I'm super excited to jump into a bit of a showcase of your work here. And yeah, I think the first piece that we'll play is just a behind-the-scenes kind of video that you had made at one point. And so yeah, we're gonna hopefully play it here shortly, and just kind of let it run, I think.
Cool.
Yeah, and so in watching this piece, I just think it was super insightful, like getting a behind-the-scenes insight into your process, and it really kind of exemplified like the playfulness, I think, of you like as a creative and as a filmmaker and as your business. So I was just wondering if you could like speak to that a little bit, just that idea of creativity and play when you're on set, and you know, where do you find that, or has that always been the case, or have you had to learn that? Yeah, what comes to mind?
I always like thinking of different angles of things, because so often we're just like seeing everything from eye level, and so I like to do like lower like angles, like really like why are the words escaping me all of a sudden?
Sure, specific
the
or like tight.
I like really like depthy shots, and so this was a fun project because I got to make some content for my friend's company, and it felt like very low stakes, and like I could just kind of be as creative as I wanted, like you said. And so I was just like, let's try something new. I bought some plexiglass and was like, I'm gonna go under it because I didn't want to get my camera dirty. And then like, just try sprinkling this. And so yeah, it was just, yeah, like you said, trying to be creative and just like exercise different parts of my brain.
No, that's super
Try
fair.
new things, and sometimes they don't work out too. I've tried a bubble tea shot like that, and it didn't work with the cup and all the layers and stuff. So yeah, I think it's all just like trial and error, and sometimes they work out, and you get a really cool creative shot. And then,
no, that's super awesome. And one of the things that stands out in your response there is just that idea of like, it was with one of your friends' companies you mentioned, and so you kind of had that relationship with them, and you had also mentioned in your interview with Michael, just like, you know, the birth videos, I was like, your sister, I think, was one of the first people. And so I'm just curious about, you know, just that idea of like working with people who you already have a chemistry with and a relationship with, and like what is the value in that, do you think, or how would you how could other people maybe follow in those footsteps?
Yeah, I think just always be thinking of ways that you could work with people in your circle, and just maybe like the stories that are near to you, and yeah, like just those are really good questions. I'm just not sure how to answer it.
I mean, I kind of asked two questions at the same time, so that's fair.
I'm sorry about that.
No, that's all good. Yeah, and so also you had mentioned like in your interview with Michael, just that idea of like, you know, what format are we filming in, and like that was obviously behind the scenes content and vertical, I assume, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, from that shoot specifically, What was that like, balancing your time and energy between what you're actually trying to film versus also like the other cameras in the space and filming vertically? What was that process like?
Yeah, I think nowadays we have to be so many things as like business owners and get the behind the scenes, get the shots, and also just be a human and interacting, right? So if you can do things with people that you already know and you feel comfortable with, it's okay to like take those risks and be like, I'm gonna set up this other camera for us on the side, just to like get another angle and stuff. So I don't know, you're always just thinking of a million things at the same time, I think, being a filmmaker.
Yeah.
Like sounds and lighting and movement and stuff.
And that, you know, brings to mind another thing is like, are you a one man band, one woman band? You know what I mean? Are you the only person trying to balance all those things? Is that
most times, especially if it's just like a shoot at a business or something that's only going to take a couple of hours. If it's a full event, I'll usually have a second shooter. Just that being in two places at the same time kind of thing, right? And the more cameras you have, the less easy it is to do everything, right? So I'll usually hire someone else to help me too.
Nice. Right on. Very cool. Cool. We'll move on to our second piece here. And so yeah, hopefully we can see the video coming up, but we can just keep talking through this one, I think. And yeah, it was a giveaway. There's jam involved. There's a lovely shot of a piece of toast hitting a plate. And who was that for? What was that for?
Yeah. So last Christmas season, I kind of got the idea of just wanting to promote some local businesses in our community. I think shopping local along the holidays and any time is really important, right? Because that's how small shops and businesses stay open. And so I just kind of selected some of my favorite local companies that I wanted to showcase, and then I like gave away the products at the end. So that jam one specifically was through our library and a producer that makes jams and teas and a bunch of other local things called Lower Shannon Farms. And it was like a fundraiser for the library. So every time you bought a jar of jam, it helped fundraise for the library. So yeah, I just liked getting to be a little more creative than I get to be sometimes. Having full creative control over my shots and trying new things like dropping toast on a plate and seeing how it goes. I think it took a few times to get the drop right. Sure. But yeah.
You were eating lots of toast that day. Yeah. No, very cool. And yeah, in your icebreakers or interview with Michael, you had mentioned the library and how you love libraries. And so, yeah, I guess I'm just curious about just that idea as like a small business owner and just, you know, your ability, your autonomy maybe to kind of integrate and bring those circles together, those things that you love in the community and just bringing those things together. So like, what did it mean to you to kind of do that with your business, but also the library and then this local creator? What did that mean to you?
Yeah, I like promoting businesses and nonprofits and things that I'm passionate about whenever I possibly can. I also made a video for Catchy Cafe, which I'm sure you're going to get to.
Yeah.
So yeah, just whenever you can shout out like good things in your community and help build up other businesses too, I think that's really important. And it not only will help your business grow, it helps theirs too. And I think that's what it's all about, right?
Yeah.
We want everyone to succeed.
Totally, yeah. There was a thought with that. There was just that idea of like in the acting world, like there's that idea of you go for auditions and there's lots of rejection, but trying to maintain that mentality of like, you know, they always want you to succeed. And I'm just kind of hearing that in what you just said about, you know, each business owner, like you want each other to succeed. The phrase, I guess, is that phrase of like a rising tide lifts all boats, I guess.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess I'd be curious, like, were there any examples of that, like for you, like either when you had just started or maybe more recently that like, you know, somebody had reached out to you and like kind of, yeah, gave you that opportunity or elevated you?
Yes, this is a great question because I also wanted to give advice to other people that maybe want to get into filmmaking. So for me personally, I once went and took this course in Vancouver that was like inspiring me with my wedding filmmaking and learning from a guy from the States that came up just how to capture weddings better and teaching us tips and tricks, right? And so when I was going to Vancouver, I decided to reach out to some companies in the area that I found their work very inspiring. So I just messaged them on social media and was like, hey, I'm coming to town. Can we go for coffee? And can I ask you questions about your business? And so I think 3 or 4 companies met with me and I got to meet friends and we've kept in touch over the years and like encourage each other in our projects and stuff like that. So I think hopefully this is answering your question. I kind of got a little off track, but yeah, other people have done that for me. And I think people that want to get into filming, like everyone is so willing to be like, here's like things that I've learned about it. And here's bad experiences I've had that maybe you can avoid and give you tips and tricks on how to succeed.
Yeah, no, right on, yeah. There's lots more we could dive into there, but I'm excited to dive into our next video here, so we'll do that. It's a video you made with Catchy Cafe, and yeah, what can you tell me about this project?
Everything they make here is beautiful, and I love filming food. I think just because it's something I'm passionate about, and yeah, I just wanted to showcase some of the things they offer and, like you said, just promote other local businesses and help them hopefully grow their audience as well. Yeah.
And I remember you mentioning like you were the one of the youngins that was taking pictures of food before it was even really a thing. So I think that's a super nice tie-in that you get to do that now on a super professional scale. And kind of, you also mentioned noticing, and so I feel like I get the sense that you see beauty in these products, right? Whereas other people might, it's just a drink, where you see the colors and are thinking of ways to emphasize that, I think, is the sense that I get, at least. I don't know if that's true, but yeah.
I think that's true, but yeah, I guess if you're always doing it, you don't really think about what you're doing, right? Or that's unusual.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no. Another question I had, again, kind of similar to the one-woman band aspect of it, is just like, what kind of equipment would you have used to potentially shoot something like that? Is it like one camera or multiple cameras, different lenses, lights? What do you typically have on hand? Is it bring everything in case you need it, or are you like super streamlined, I'm just going to limit myself?
Yeah, I think it depends on the project. For that, I think I just use like natural light. It's very bright in here. There's lots of windows, so that's nice. But yeah, I guess it depends on what we're doing and where we're shooting. I do have like a setup of lights and I have multiple cameras, but I don't know, sometimes it's just like get in, get out, quick, like one camera on a monopod, then you have some movement that you can do. Because I used to just be like a tripod person, and then someone on Instagram was like, hey, I think if you got a monopod, it would really like enhance your work. And it was this guy in Europe that was a filmmaker, and he just like gave me this tip, and so I'm like, hey, I'm gonna get a monopod. And so just like little things like that, right? That change your style over time and help you evolve your product.
And I think there's actually something really beautiful in that sentiment there about, I feel like some people might get a comment like that from somebody they don't know, and they might either, brush it off or not take it seriously. So I guess I'm just curious, like what made you invest further and stay curious about that offer from that individual?
I think, just like when someone gives you feedback, you can either like take it really personally, or you can like learn from it and be like, maybe this is coming from like a good place, right? Not like your work is terrible. You need to change everything about it. Because I think maybe sometimes if I say something, maybe that's not how I meant it. And so giving people the benefit of the doubt that they really like do have your best interests at heart, and they are trying to like encourage you and help you grow, then you can just like take little things like that and use them. And every like feedback you get from a project just helps you the next time, right?
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. Yeah. Another question I had. Do you remember if this Catchy Cafe video was that part of a giveaway? Or?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was also one of the food giveaways.
Yeah. And I guess I'm also just curious about that of like doing giveaways. I see them like quite often, and like it seems like a fairly social media specific thing. So what could you tell me about doing giveaways? Like, I behind the process of it. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Well, the idea of the giveaway was actually with a local hair salon that they had approached me, and they're like, every year we do like 12 days of giveaways, and it's just like to promote their social media and but also to promote local businesses. So they were like, we want you to do a day. And so then I immediately was thinking, how can I contribute to this as well, instead of just being like, Brittany's going to give us these products. And so I'm like, I can make films. So then I just like took the idea, and then I ended up doing my own thing on the side, doing these videos. Like I made like, I think it was a 5-part series featuring different foods in town. And then gave them like, here's like a little video of all the videos that you can use on your page. So yeah, just like being like, what can I do to contribute? And lots of people would be like, oh, here's my product, but my product is film.
Right.
So.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you.
I know we are getting close to the end of our time, but I would be remiss if we did not look at the jazzed chocolate bar video. So I think if we'll hopefully play that here, and I think we'll just talk over it. But what can you tell me about this video, because it is like visually striking, and the product itself is just gorgeous. So what can you tell me about it?
Thank you. So yeah, that is my friend Andrea's company called Jewel Cocoa Bean, and she just started it a couple years ago, making chocolate, teaching herself how to make chocolate by learning from other people on the internet. And it's hard to make like things that pretty look bad on film. So I feel like, yeah, the chocolate speaks for itself, but yeah, just getting to like be creative and see her process of how it all is made is just so beautiful and fun to film. And yeah, I was very passionate about working on that for her.
Yeah. And then like, just another quick question I'd love to get in there about that is just like, you know, how long does it take to make the bar at the end? Like, how long were you there? Like, or how many sessions did you do with them? And then you compress it into a very condensed video. So what can you tell me about that?
Well, she was big on planning that. Like, if you think of like Martha Stewart or like those like baking shows, how they like have like, oh, these ones are like half done and these ones were just starting. So she had like something called the shells, which is like the chocolate that's hardened already, that first she paints the stencil with like a spray, oh, I'm gonna get it wrong, like an airbrush. There we go. And then puts the chocolate in, and then it hardens. So she had that setting, like sitting on the counter, and then we took the other ones, and then she filled those ones, and then we left those, and then she put the end on it called capping, and then she tapped them out on the counter at the end. So yeah, it was just like a lot of pre-planning, but yeah, and for editing, it all depends. I can spend hours on like a 15-second or 30-second video, depending on how quickly the shots move and all that kind of stuff, right? But yeah, every project is different.
Yeah. And I appreciate that comment, because I think social media in some ways warps people's perspective, I think, of just like, yeah, you can spend hours editing that 15 seconds that people, you know, maybe watch 3 seconds of. And so I want to acknowledge that. So
Thank you.
We're pretty much out of time, but I think we have your website handy here. And so if we just like pull that up, and if you could just tell us like a bit about what it is you offer and on through your website, and what that process was like of building your website or editing it, that would be awesome.
Okay, I feel like I'm always like improving and changing my website and trying to update it. But basically, I film a lot of commercial work. I film weddings, events, maybe other things too, depending on what they are, and timeline and all that kind of stuff, people's vision for it. But yeah, I'm always open to try new filmmaking projects too if people have ideas. So
nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Right. Right on. Well, I do think that's the time we have. I tried to
Thank
squish
you.
quite a bit in here. So, yeah, thank you so much for your time and energy. It's been really nice getting to talk to you.
It's been lovely. Thanks.
Awesome. This has been TELUS Storyhives on location in Lloydminster at Catchy Cafe. My name is Daniel J. Perryman, local theatre and filmmaker based in Lethbridge, Alberta. This is my co-host.
Michael Bartz. I make short films and podcasts about environmental sustainability. And this is...
Brittany Murphy, owner of BR Films and a filmmaker.
Awesome. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you guys for having me.